Long ago, the continents of North, Central, and South America were known as Abya, and the people that lived in that land were the original people. There were people living in all of the American continents: North America, Central America, and South America. And in the center, just off the coast of Central America, the Taino people inhabited the islands of the Caribbean. In the year 1492, three ships from Europe arrived in the islands of the Caribbean, where the ancient Taino were living, and brought to this continent Christopher Columbus and 5 centuries of dramatic and oftentimes destructive change. Change that spread out across the whole continent. In 1992, many people around the world proposed to celebrate the 500th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival in the Americas. But here in Abya, indigenous people saw an opportunity to reestablish the spiritual link between the major regions of this continent, guided by the prophecy that promised the linking together of the power of the eagle of the north with the power of the condor of the south, the quetzal of Central America, and the red-tailed hawk of the Caribbean islands. The descendants of the ancient original people gathered together and dreamed into existence a great transcontinental prayer. This prayer manifested in the form of a great run called Peace and Dignity Journeys. Some runners would gather at the northernmost point of North America in Alaska, and other runners would gather at the southernmost point of South America in Argentina. The northern group would run south, and the southern group would run north, gathering other participants along the way as they passed through various indigenous territories until the two groups finally met somewhere in the middle. They were to occur every 4 years, beginning in the year 1992. The prayer has been maintained in this way ever since. Every 4 years, a dedicated group of indigenous people cooperate to make the prayer happen again. Since 2008, a contingent of runners representing the indigenous people of the Caribbean has carried staffs bearing the prayers of the island people. This contingent was named Route of the Red-tailed Hawk. Since 2016, the Route of the Red-tailed Hawk has included runners carrying the sacred feathered staff representing the original people from the Caribbean island of Cuba. This staff traveled alongside similar staffs representing Taino communities from Boriquén, Puerto Rico, Yamaye, Jamaica, Quisqueya, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and Haiti. The wood that the Cuban staff is made of comes from a native mahogany tree taken in the Cuban region of Oriente. It was blessed in a solemn ceremony by the daughter of the cacique chief of the indigenous area of Baracoa on the eastern end of the island, and handcrafted into the likeness of the Taino deity, Yokahu. It bears the sacred feathers of the red-tailed hawk. In the year 2020, the indigenous people of the Americas will again carry out the sacred prayer, and the ground under the entire continent of Abya will again vibrate to the rhythm of the feet of determined runners. The indigenous people of the Caribbean islands will again be represented during that run. Staffs symbolizing communities in the islands of Yamaye, Boriquén, Quisqueya, Haiti, and other islands will again be carried alongside the sacred mahogany staff of Cuba. This year, in November of 2019, the Cuba staff is scheduled to make a preliminary run on the southern coast of the island, and the runners will be blessed by members of the indigenous community of that land. Then, in 2020, the staff will again join the staffs representing communities of the other islands, and eventually indigenous communities from across the entire continent of Abya, running south to eventually meet up with the southern route in the South American city of Quito, Ecuador.